subjects tayong hindi favorite. Siguro yung iba dito ayaw nyo ng pediatrics. No. Well, hindi ko siya favorite. Siya favorite. Na-appreciate ko siya when I was already in the hospital. Application, etc. Doon ko ito. Pero sa books, iba nakaka-overwhelm yung book. Ang liliit, diba? Pero during our examination, diplomate exam, wala kaming choice kung basahin namin yung book. Diba? Ang liliit. Kasi may written exam kami dito. With three separate. So, ganun ang buhay natin pala. Ngayon lang yan, nag-aaral ka. Sa next year, iba naman. Dahil na pag-clerkship, mas iba naman yung pinagdadaan. Okay? So, lahat. How do you start? Ha? Hindi. Yung third, no? Fine. K-drama pa yun. Okay, hindi ata siya. Alright, so for this afternoon, we're going to talk about genetics in pediatric medicine. So in this lecture, I'm the module developer. With me is Dr. Judith Garcia, which is lecturing in the other section. Okay. So this, diba? Since the completion of the Human Genome Project, have you heard of this one? I'm sure alam niyo yan, noong unang panahon, hindi siya, parang walang mangyayari yung mga nangyayari ngayon. Hello? Bakit pangit ang mic? Sabihin niyo nga kalitan na. Hello? Okay. Pero sa ngayon, diba, lahat, meron na nga tayong ChatGPT here, and but not rely on that one hand. For prayers lang, siguro pwede kung biglang, ikaw na magbigay ng prayer, ikaw na magbigay ng opening remarks. Pero for your study purposes, huwag niyo gagawin. Ha? Okay? Yung paggawa ng history, huwag niyo gagawin yun. Kasi kayang gawin yan ng ChatGPT. So it's like that, no? There has been an unprecedented expansion in the understanding of how human health is impacted by variations in genomic, sequence, and epigenetic, non-sequence-based changes that affect gene expression. There has also been the development and implementation of accurate clinical tests that makes it easier for us physicians to detect pathogenic variant changes. And in addition to that, there has been a dramatic increase in the availability of information about the genetic aspects of pediatric diseases, particularly on the internet. Nowadays, before the parents and the patients come in for check-up, nagre-research na yan. May alam na sila. So sa ngayon, dahil na pag kayo na nakaupo doon as doctors, make sure that you have read on it. So nag-aaral kayo ngayon, and you know what you're talking about because they have research already. Unlike before, kung siguro, no? Ang taas ng tingin nila sa doktor. Kung anong sabihin ng doktor, sige po, opo. Ngayon, hindi na ganun. So, when you are facing the parents, talking to them, make sure na what you're talking about is something that is based on practice and the books. Ganun na sila. Ganyan din kayo, di ba? Nagbabasa na din kayo pag nagpa-check up. Tama ba? Or hindi na? Dead mo na lang. Okay, so for this lecture, these are our learning objectives to discuss the burden of genetic disorders in childhood, the major categories of genetic disorders, enumerated indications of genetic testing, discuss ethical issues in genetic testing and the policies governing it, and the principles of human genetics and patterns of genetic transmission. Also, the integration of genetics into our practice, approach to genetic testing, pharmacogenetics, and pediatric pharmacogenomics, to stress the importance of genetic counseling, to discuss the principles of management and treatment of genetic disorders, to present the background on birth defects and dysmorphology, the clinical approaches in diagnosing genetic syndromes, and to present some tools that can be used in diagnosing genetic disorders and update on the different techniques we test in genetics. So in short, we will not be discussing the specific genetic syndromes, no? General kasi second year pa lang tayo. Pag third year siguro we will discuss yung mga kung ano yung syndrome, yung in detail. Alright, so when we talk about genetics, you cannot get away from these terms. DNA, diba? Genes, diba? Chromosomes. And for you to understand it better, let's watch this slide.
You've likely heard the words DNA, gene, and chromosome. But do you know the difference? DNA is a genetic code. Every single cell in your body carries a copy of this code inside of a structure called the nucleus. Brain cells, skin cells, muscles, copy of your genetic material. DNA is like an instruction manual that codes for all of the characteristics of a species. Different parts of the DNA code for different things. DNA is organized into structures called chromosomes. Think of DNA as messy, stringy yarn, while chromosomes are like nicely organized yarn balls. Each chromosome consists of several very long DNA molecules. Different species have different numbers of chromosomes. Their DNA is organized in different ways. Humans have 36 chromosomes that are organized into 23 pairs. This image represents all 46 human chromosomes organized into 23 pairs. DNA is passed on in the form of chromosomes, and for each pair, one is inherited from the biological mother and one from the biological father. During sexual reproduction, the egg and sperm carry single copies of chromosomes. When sperm and egg unite, the chromosomes pair up and a new DNA code is formed. The chromosomes inherited by the offspring contain a unique combination of genes. A gene is a specific segment of DNA that codes for a particular trait. Don't forget that DNA is highly organized, so specific genes are actually located in specific places on specific chromosomes. In fact, scientists have mapped out the exact location of many human genes. One gene that controls eye color is located in a specific region on chromosome 15. The gene that codes for insulin is located on chromosome 2. While all cells in your body carry a full copy of your DNA, different cells use different parts of the DNA to code for different structures. In other words, different types of cells use different genes. Let's review. DNA is a coded molecule that is passed on from parents to offspring in the form of chromosomes. Chromosomes come in pairs. You inherit one copy from the egg and one copy from the sperm. Each chromosome contains many genes, which are specific segments of the DNA. Each gene has the instructions to code for something specific in the body, like enzymes, hormones, or pigments. Inherited chromosomes and genes determine the traits that make each of us unique. You've likely heard the words DNA.
So in 1990 to 2003, the Human Genome Project sequenced about 85% of the human genome. And the most recent human genome has 90% of human DNA base pairs mapped. Medical problems associated with genetic disorders can appear at any age, no? As you can see here. And with the most obvious and serious problems typically manifesting in childhood. So those are our patients. 53 out of 1,000 children and young adults can be expected to have diseases with an important genetic component. And if the congenital anomalies are included, that calls for 79 out of 1,000. So ang dami nun, di ba? Sa atin, di ba, usually nakikita nyo na yung mga may Down syndrome, yung mga autism. So during childhood talaga siya. Next, we have the classic forms of inheritance. Okay, so your autosomal dominant inheritance. No? This tracks a genetic trait or condition caused by the dominant allele on an autosome. So it involves the autosomes from the chromosomes 1 to 22. It involves the presence of one affected gene which influences the phenotype. And the transmission is vertical. Ano ba yung vertical? Anong characteristic na passed on from the parent, diba? So, pababa. Okay, so it has a 50% occurrence rate and male-to-male transmission occurs. Okay. If parents are unaffected, this doesn't mean it's not autosomal dominant. So we have the novel pathogenic variant in the egg or sperm, or we have the so-called incomplete penetrance. So you have your modifier genes, environmental factors, age, and sex. And we have variable expressions, pwede, no? Somatic pathogenic variants, or your mosaicism. How about the autosomal recessive inheritance? So both genes should be affected, and it occurs in horizontal transmission. You have a 25% recurrence risk, and both sexes are affected. Pwede yung parents hindi siya affected, pero the children are equally affected. Okay? So both sexes. And consanguinity increases risk by 6 to 8%. So this is your table of consanguinity. So showing the degrees of relationship. So if I am the person or the primary person affected, so I have my parents, the first degree, and yung mga anak ko, first degree. So, pataas, first, second degree. So, ang first degree nyo, yung parents nyo, kayo magiging anak nyo. Okay? Alright. The risk of having a child with a particular single gene disorder can vary from one population to another. And this may be the result of a founder effect in which a specific change affecting a disease-causing gene becomes relatively common in a population derived from a small number of founder individuals. No? And this high frequency is maintained when there is relatively little interbreeding with persons outside the population because of social, religious, or physical barriers. This is the case for Tay-Sachs disease in Ashkenazi Jews and French Canadians. So, hindi sila nag-interbreed. Yung sinasabi natin, pag sabihin, parang magkamagalan na sila. Pero it's because they live in a population wherein meron talaga silang ganong characteristics. So, examples of your autosomal recessive diseases are your sickle cell disease, cystic fibrosis, hemophilia, and with African descent and Northern European descent, aside from the Ashkenazi Jews and French Canadians. Okay, X-linked inheritance, there is a deleterious change in the X chromosome. Males are more commonly affected than females and shows phenotypic changes. Females, carriers are mildly affected. Carrier lang sila. No, recurrence rate is variable, and for females, no, 25% of the sons are affected, 25% daughter, and 50% not affected. Pag sa males naman, 50% of their daughters become carriers. Ibig sabihin yung tatay, no? Okay, pseudodominant inheritance. This is a dominant transmission of a non-recessive gene in a homozygous affected individual plus a heterozygous carrier. So in this case, individuals who carry a single copy of the genetic change or heterozygotes have a survival advantage over non-carriers. And this can occur even when the individuals who inherit two copies of the change, the homozygotes, have severe or severe medical problems. And this type of positive selection is evident among individuals in sub-Saharan Africa who carry a single copy of hemoglobin pathogenic variant that confers relative resistance to malaria. Diba meron tayong ganun sa malaria, ay hindi ko pa yan that we discussed before. But causes sickle cell anemia in homozygotes. Okay. Next, your non-classic forms of inheritance. It follows a non-Mendelian pattern. So you have your mitochondrial inheritance, triplet repeat expansion disorders, and genetic imprinting. Okay. So you have four major categories of genetic disorders. Your single gene, genomic, chromosomal, and your multifactorial. Okay. So individually, each single gene disorder is rare, but collectively, they represent an important contribution to childhood diseases. And the hallmark of a single gene disorder is that the phenotype is overwhelmingly determined by changes that affect an individual gene. No, the character and severity of a phenotype associated with some single gene disorders can vary from one patient to another. So what are the common single gene disorders? You have your sickle cell anemia and your cystic fibrosis. Those are the common examples of this, no? And what else? Maliban doon, some identifiable syndromes and diseases can be caused by more than one gene. You have your Noonan syndrome, which can be caused by pathogenic variants in at least 12 different genes. O, diba? Ang hirap na. Ang galing ng tao, no? Na-discover ng mga And in addition, pathogenic variants affecting a single gene may cause more than one disorder. So variants in SCN5A can cause your Brugada syndrome, type 1, long QT syndrome, type B. So cardiac itong mga to. Dilated cardiomyopathy, type 1E, familial atrial fibrillation, type 10, familial ventricular fibrillation. So ito, 6 sinus syndrome. Puro cardiac siya. Okay? So single gene disorders tend to occur when changes in a gene have a profound effect on the quantity of the gene product produced, either too much or too little, or the function of the gene product either lost a function, no, or a harmful gain of function. And these disorders can be caused by de novo sequence changes that are not found in unaffected parents or of the affected individual, or they may be caused by inheriting the affected gene. Yan yung mga common abnormalities natin for single gene disorders. So anong madalas nyo nakikita dyan? Actually, parang lahat sila naririnig nyo, diba? But yeah, later on. Okay, so how about the genomic disorders? So this table shows you the difference. Bakit ang labo talaga nyo? So there, a gene and genome. A gene is a segment or a portion of DNA molecule, while a genome is the total DNA content in a cell. So what does the gene do? It codes for proteins, right? How about the genome? No? It cannot code for proteins as it contains almost all the DNA. But anong nagiging effects mo? The study, yung sa genes, no, regulatory genes consist of only a few base pairs as it represents only DNA segments. Pero itong genome, mas malaki siya, consists of all the base pairs in a cell. So what are your diseases, no, in genomic disorders? So pwede siya because of deletion, duplications, inversion, chromosomal rearrangements, and contiguous gene disorders. These are caused by alterations in the genome including yan, copy number loss, yan yung deletion, copy number gain, duplication siya, inversions, there is altered orientation of genomic region and chromosomal rearrangements, altered location of the genomic region. Okay, contiguous gene disorders are caused by changes that affect two or more genes that contribute to the clinical phenotype and located near one and other on a chromosome. So, ano, kasama dito yung DiGeorge syndrome, which is caused by deletion of genes located on chromosome 22q11. This is a very common example. So, DiGeorge DiGeorge syndrome. Huwag yung kakalimutan yung mga examples. And some genomic disorders are associated with distinctive phenotypes whose patterns can be recognized clinically. How about chromosomal analysis? Your fluorescent in situ hybridization, your fish, sa mga metrics, siguro na rin yung fish, no? Can provide information about the copy number and location of a specific genomic region. Now, array-based copy number detection assays, sometimes referred to as chromosomal microarray analysis, can be used to screen for chromosomal deletions and duplications. Okay, so chromosomal disorders, ano yung mga based on number, structure, and sex function ng employee and chromosomal instability. Deletions, duplications, and chromosomal rearrangements can affect the whole chromosome or large portions of a chromosome are typically referred to as chromosomal disorders. And one of the most common chromosomal disorder is Down syndrome, which is the most often associated with the presence of an extra copy or trisomy. Ano ang trisomy? 21. Trisomy of entire chromosome 21. When all or part of a chromosome is missing, the disorder is referred to as monosomy. Extra copy. Okay, how about based on chromosomal number? So, a human cell consists of 46 chromosomes. Diba? 20 pairs siya. Tapos, polyploid, when there is more than normal number, euploid, which is 46XX or 46XY. Ano ba yung aneuploid? This happens when chromosomes are not a multiple of 22. So there is non-disjunction, which is the most common cause. Or you have monosomies. Yung Turner syndrome, you have your 45X. Diba? XX, XY. Dapat pairs lahat sila, diba? Then trisomy, your 3 chromosomes instead of 2. So you have trisomy 21, 18, and 13. Ano yung 18? Memorize mo. Mga specific disorders. Okay, translocations are a type of chromosomal rearrangement in which a genomic region from one chromosome is transferred to a different location on the same chromosome or on a different or non-homologous chromosome. Translocations can be balanced, meaning that no genetic material has been lost or gained, or they can be unbalanced, in which some genetic material has been deleted or duplicated. So you have your sex chromosome aneuploidy, your Turner syndrome, which is 45X. The other one, no, Klinefelter syndrome, 47XXY or 48XXY. No. Yan. These are the other chromosomal disorders. Down syndrome, trisomy 18, Edwards, o diba? Patau is 13. Patau syndrome. Turner syndrome, monosomy X, Klinefelter, yan. Triple X syndrome, XY1 syndrome. Yan. Nababasa nyo na first year pa lang. In some cases, only a portion of cells that make up a person's body are affected by a single gene defect, a genomic disorder or a chromosomal defect. And this is referred to as mosaicism or mosaicism, and indicates that the individual's body is made up of two or more distinct cell populations. And through the use of technologies with high sensitivity, it has become evident that there can be significant low-level mosaicism in somatic tissues. An organism from a single zygote has two or more cell populations with distinct genotypes. Okay. Chromosomal instability syndromes happens when there is an increased frequency of breakage and rearrangement. So this confers increased risk for malignancies, and this includes your Fanconi anemia, ataxia telangiectasia, Nijmegen syndrome, immunodeficiency, centromere instability, facial anomaly syndrome, Roberts syndrome, and Bloom syndrome. How about your multifactorial inheritance disorders? So these are disorders influenced by a combination of multiple genes and environmental factors. Basta narinig nyo na environmental factors, multifactorial na rin, no? So this includes your congenital anomalies, chronic diseases, and neuropsychiatric disorders. This is affected by your diet, lifestyle, no? Exposure to toxins. There's no clear inheritance, but there is clustering in the family. Okay, so as you can see here, no? Multiple genes, environmental factors, so it becomes a multifactorial disorder. So these are your examples, like your congenital heart defects, neurotube defects, cleft lip or palate, thyroid stenosis, asthma, DM, kids, and hypertension. So polygenic disorders are caused by cumulative effects of variations in more than one gene. Multifactorial disorders are caused by the cumulative effects of multiple genes or the combined effects of genetic, epigenetic, and or environmental factors. So you have your spina bifida, an isolated cleft lip or palate. These are common birth defects that display multifactorial inheritance patterns. Nakita na kayo ng spina bifida. Habang patient, lumaki na kasi siya, hindi siya naoperahan. Para siyang may, ano yung snail? Yung ganun ng snail, yung shell niya. Yun ang issue. Here, diba? So, ang fear ko sa kanya kasi school age na siya, baka mabulo, o trauma ng classmates, kasi delikado na siyang operahan. Nang-is nila yung cancer. So, parang siyang may ganun, hindi siya halata, but she's growing well. She's developing neuro-wise, physical-wise, and are weak position in yun yung itsura. Parang meron siya. Pag hinawakan mo, parang siyang parang. Ano yung balot? She's fine. Okay. And, yun lang, dapat nakikita siya agad. These multifactorial inheritance diseases are seen in many common pediatric disorders such as your asthma, diabetes mellitus, and these traits usually cluster in families that do not have a median pattern of inheritance. So you have genetic changes or variations that are contributing to particular disorder. Often unknown, and genetic counseling is based on empirical data and estimates. So we move on to genetic testing. Do you have an idea how much a genetic test costs? Basta napakamahal. Kasi kung mura lang siya, lahat tayo magka-genetic testing na, diba? Ako, napapagawa ko lang siya because of Cord Life. Have you heard of Cord Life? Stem cell, harvesting stem cell? Okay, meron tayo yan sa Philippines. So pag nanganganak ako, papaharvest ako ng stem cells. Squeeze nila yun from the umbilical cord. They will harvest them. But before that happens, may testing. Lahat is screen sa'yo. Tapos, yun, it gives free. And then, they will store it. Meron tayo dito, Singaporean, ano siya, sa may Techno Hub, opposite UP, Diliman. Meron yun. Yung storage fee ka lang every year. Right? Diba, lately, we've been hearing about stem cell therapy for autism, etc. Sabi nila, si Eddie Garcia, if you still know him, tumanda na siya ng ganun sa tanda dahil ng pag-stem cell therapy. So, ganun. Meron na siya. Meron tayo. Just so you know, if you're interested, meron tayo. So, stem cells. Genetic testing is increasingly available for a wide variety of both rare and relatively common genetic disorders. So, especially if there is not only one but four more cases in your family, then it is very prudent for us to request for genetic testing. Kaya ma-prepare yung future generation. Mga mag-aasawa, diba? Kagaya niya, sino may thalassemia? Hindi niya alam. This is a form of so, dapat yung asawa mo walang thalassemia. Kung hindi, makamagkaroon ka ng offspring na major. Kung minor kayong parati siya current blood transfusions kasi all and all okay. So these are some of the benefits of genetic testing. So we can detect diseases in newborns, assist in diagnosis, determine your family history, support in vitro fertilization, and determine if we are carriers of a disease. So it is used in pediatric medicine to solve or resolve uncertainty and etiology, especially for those cases na hindi mo talaga alam anong diagnosis niya, presenting with this and that you cannot pinpoint your specific diagnosis. So it provides the basis for improved genetic counseling, alteration of medical management needed for a specific therapy, and if a specific treatment is not available, it provides an accurate diagnostic and recurrence risk information. And for future application of predisposition to developing a particular disease and individualized drug treatment or pharmacogenics. Okay, so these are other indications for genetic testing. Nakikita nyo dyan have girls. If your age, maternal age is more than or equal to 35 years, then this becomes an indication already. So, okay masyadong late mag-asawa. And paternal age of more than or equal to 40 years. Oo. Sa ibang bansa, talaga, routine na yung basic lang na ano for trisomy 21, may ganun sila. Sa atin, separate siya. Optional kasi it's very expensive. Okay, so previous child with or family history of congenital abnormality, dysmorphology, intellectual disability, isolated birth defect, and the rest. Ito na sa libro. Okay, so napakadami natin indications for genetic counseling and testing. Okay. So long-standing and highly successful carrier screening programs have existed for disorders such as Tay-Sachs disease and many other rare single-gene disorders that are prevalent in specific populations. So couples are usually offered screening for a variety of conditions based in part on ancestry, like your Tay-Sachs disease, hemoglobinopathies, and cystic fibrosis. And couples found to get increased risk for such disorders can be offered preconception or prenatal testing aimed at detecting specific disease-causing variants. Prenatal screening is routinely offered for chromosomal disorders such as trisomy 30, 18, yung sinasabi ko kanina, and Down syndrome. And pregnancies affected by these and possibly other genetic disorders are being recognized by non-invasive screening tests targeting fetal cell-free DNA in maternal blood and by fetal ultrasound. So kahit sa OB, nagiging advanced na din yung scanning nila. Okay? Pero for some reason, there's still newborns na biglang hindi siya nakita sa scan. Pero paglabas ng bata, may abnormality. Well, wala naman 100%. Pero still, better if we do it. Kasi yung mga obvious, makikita man agad. Siguro yung mga less obvious, pwede mo. Okay? What else? Okay. Although prenatally obtained genetic material can be used to identify disorders, genomic disorders, and chromosomal abnormalities, the information obtained on any pregnancy depends on the tests that are ordered. So what are the available genetic tests? We have your karyotyping, chromosomal microarray assay, single gene testing, targeted gene panel, whole exome sequencing, and whole genome sequencing. Exome yung isa, ito yung subgene. Okay. So for chromosomal analysis, unless a non-chromosomal diagnosis is apparent, a neonate or young infant with an unusual appearance or major malformations or both should have a standard chromosome study. And it has a high sensitivity for aneuploidies, large deletions, and duplications, as well as translocations. Their chromosomal microassay is more sensitive for the detection of microdeletions or microduplications that are over 20 to 400 kilobases in size but cannot detect balanced translocations or inversion. So you know that these tests are existing. Like your sequencing technologies, your whole genome sequencing and whole exome sequencing. Okay. So now we're going to discuss the ethical issues in genetic testing. No? Genetic testing, diagnosis, and treatment should be performed with confidentiality. So this is pure confidential. Hindi dahil excited ka about it, you can share to others. It's pure confidential. Nothing is as personal as one's genetic information, and all efforts should be made to avoid any stigma for the patient. So many people worry that results of genetic testing will put them or their child at risk for genetic discrimination. So genetic discrimination occurs when people are treated unfairly because of a difference in their DNA that suggests they have a genetic disorder or they are at an increased risk of developing a certain disease. In the United States, the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act of 2008 protects individuals from genetic discrimination at the hands of health insurers and employers, but does not extend protection against discrimination from providers of life, disability, or long-term care insurance. So all efforts should be made to avoid any stigma for the patient. Diba? Nagpa-genetic testing, yung mga maternity test. Tapos ikaw nag-test, sinabi mo, hindi anak mo ganito, chismis. Hindi yun maganda, ha? In a pediatric setting, these decisions may be more difficult because physicians and parents are often called on to make decisions for a child who cannot directly participate in discussions about testing. So it should be based on careful evaluation of the potential benefits and risks, and molecular diagnostic tests are often used to diagnose malformation syndromes, cognitive delay, or other disabilities in which there is a clear benefit for the patient. It's just that, for sabi nga natin ni Kaisha, kalimutan ko na research ko into time. So what are the general recommendations? Okay, one. Decisions about whether to offer genetic testing and screening should be driven by the best interest of the child. Always, no? Policies, ito yung mga policies na collaboratively developed by the American Association or American Academy of Pediatrics and American College of Medical Genetics and Genomics. So there. And then 2, genetic testing is best offered in the context of genetic counseling. And genetic counseling can be performed by clinical geneticists, genetic counselors, or any other healthcare provider with appropriate training and expertise. Third, in a child with symptoms of a genetic condition, the rationale for genetic testing is similar to other medical diagnostic evaluations. Parents and guardians should be informed about the risks and benefits of the test. Their permission should be obtained. Your informed consent because always, lahat nakasulat in detail so that later on, walang mabibigay. No? And ideally, when appropriate, no, the assent of the child should be obtained. This is true when your patient is already able. Yung nakaka-decide na siya for her own. But, so assent is agree. I need to say no. Consent is I do not agree. And when performed for therapeutic purposes, pharmacogenetics testing of children is acceptable with permission of parents or guardians, and when appropriate, the child's assent. If pharmacogenetic test result carries implications beyond drug targeting or dose responsiveness, the broader implications should be discussed before testing. Diba pwede na natin i-customize ang pagbibili natin ng gamot? Pero feeling ko, at this point, mahal pag ginagawa natin. Ganun lang. Okay? The AAP and ACMG supports the mandatory offering of newborn screening for all children. So do you know how it is done, the newborn screening test? Ha? Hindi tayo. Paano ginagawa? Pure prick lang siya. Oh, you have a special filter paper, meron silang circles there where you tap the for love. No? And then you send it to, before sa UP, National Institute of Health na siya ginagawa. Pero ngayon may mga testing centers ng satellites. So mas madami, mas mabilis. Before talagang isang phone. Usually talaga po. So UPNIH processes it, then it screens. Before, 5 lang yun, tapos extend, we have to expand the newborn screening test. After education and counseling about the substantial effects of newborn screening, its remote risks, and the next steps in the event of a positive screening result, the parents should have the option of refusing the procedure and an informed refusal. The refusal should be respected. Why? Because this is a law already, the Newborn Screening Act. Meron na tayo, lahat dapat mag-undergo. But then again, this is a free contribution. Basta lahat nakapirma, nakasulat na ito. Okay? Alright. The AAP and ACMG do not support routine carrier testing in minors when such testing does not provide health benefits in childhood. And they advise against school-based testing or screening programs because the school environment, full consent, privacy, confidentiality, or appropriate counseling of test results. So medyo mas madaming involved pag ganyan. School-based settings, lahat na involved. So pwede lumabas magkaroon ng stigma or discrimination. And for pregnant adolescent or adolescents considering reproduction, genetic testing, and screening should be offered as clinically indicated, and the risks and benefits should be explained to them clearly. But then again, even if they're adolescents, sometimes they just say yes or no. You don't really know for sure if they understand it or not. Gusto lang. Parents or guardians may authorize predictive genetic testing for asymptomatic children at risk of childhood onset conditions. Ideally, the assent of the child should be obtained. Okay? And predictive genetic testing for adult onset conditions generally should be deferred unless an intervention initiated in childhood may reduce mortality or morbidity. For ethical and legal reasons, healthcare providers should be cautious about providing predictive genetic testing to minors without involvement of their parents or guardians, even if a minor is mature. Diba? Ito, tissue compatibility testing. Histocompatibility testing. Or, diba? Testing of minors of all ages is permissible to benefit immediate family members, but should be conducted only after thoroughly exploring the psychosocial, emotional, and physical implications of the minor serving as a potential stem cell donor. A donor advocate or similar mechanism should be in place for the outset to avert coercion and safeguard the interests of the child. May favorite kang anak mo, sa mga magiging donor yung isa, best favorite, wag ganun, di ba? Coercion. Kasi you're a parent, or the fact that your age difference is malaki, that makes you the person with the higher authority. So meron naman coercion. Okay, the rationale for genetic testing of children in biological families should apply for adopted children and children awaiting placement for adoption. So it holds true for biological and non-biological children. And if a child has a known genetic risk, prospective adoptive parents must be made aware of this possibility. In rare cases, it may be in a child's best interest to undergo predictive genetic testing for a known risk before adoption to ensure the child's placement with a family capable of and willing to accept the child's potential medical and developmental challenges. So in the absence of such indications, genetic testing should not be performed as a condition of adoption. Kasi lately, I've been hearing about yung pagka nalaman nilang meron pa ng something yung batang in-adopt na parang hindi naman dapat yung parang aso, na iiwan mo na lang siya, pusa, hindi ba dapat na animals na we care about them. How much more kung kids to? Parang inapan ko na lang. Ibalik ko na kasi ayoko. So maybe that's the reason why you have to be truthful about it. So pwede kung may obvious possibility of having this patient before adoption, you can test. Sino mga fur parents dito? Imagine ko tuloy yung exchange ng diaper ng dog sa higaan ng isang baby. O OA naman. So at the time of genetic testing, parents or guardians should be encouraged to inform their child of the test results at an appropriate age. So parents and guardians should be advised that under most circumstances, a request for a mature adolescent for test results can be honored. Okay. And the results may have implications for the parents and other family members. The healthcare providers have an obligation to inform parents and the child when appropriate about these implications. No? They should encourage patients and families to share their information and offer to help explain the results to the extended family or refer them for genetic counseling. Diba? Seryoso na natin. Misattributed paternity. So, yun naman sa mga novelas. Use of donor myths, adoption, or other questions about family relationships. Ikaw ay isang amon. Diba? Kiniklaim nila ang amon. Tapos nagpa-test ko pala yung tunay na ano. Tawa kami ng tawa kasi sa age ko, pag-relax sa mga K-drama. Di ba yan yung usual na plot? Ikaw pala yung tunay na anak, yung isa hindi. Okay. So they may be uncovered incidentally whenever genetic testing is performed, particularly when testing multiple family members. grabe naman, siguro ito yung mga sobrang yaman. Gusto nyo na i-check lahat ng gusto nila na-discover sino ang totoo. And this risk should be discussed and a plan about disclosure or non-disclosure should be in place before testing. But if you love them all, bakit kailangan ko? Huwag na. No? Meron tayong tinatawag na direct-to-consumer testing. So, pwede yun. Ako, kunyari, si Dr. gusto niya magpa-test on her own without having to consult a clinician or a geneticist, pwede niyo gawin yun. No? So, this allows her to privately access her genetic information without having to involve a healthcare provider. Okay, so that's what you call your direct consumer testing. The AAP and ACMG strongly discourage the use of direct-to-consumer and home kit genetic testing of children because of the lack of oversight on test content, accuracy, and interpretation. No? And in most cases naman, healthcare providers order genetic tests, interpret the results, communicate these results to their patients, and then document these findings in the medical record.
Genetics helps us understand the biological programming of all life forms. But what exactly is the science of genetics? And what does its future hold? Genetics is the study of heredity, the expression of traits and how they are passed from generation to generation. For thousands of years, humans have observed this inheritance of traits and implemented their knowledge to create and domesticate plants and animals. However, the science behind inheritance was only starting to be understood in the mid-19th century. Around 1865, Austrian monk and botanist Gregor Mendel published the results of his hybridization studies of pea plants. In his findings, he noted the role of factors that influence the expression of traits. These factors later became known as genes. Each human has between 20,000 and 25,000 genes. This collection, called a genome, determines a person's traits by influencing factors on a cellular level. Genetic information is stored in every cell's nucleus. Structures called chromosomes carry this information in the form of deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA. DNA is a double helix of nucleotides, chemical compounds composed of sugar and phosphate molecules, along with the bases thymine, adenine, guanine, and cytosine. These segments of DNA are what we call genes, and it is within those genes that chemical compounds provide the code for all information about a person's inherited traits. Human cells contain so much DNA to carry this large amount of information that, if unraveled, the DNA in each cell would be over 6 feet long. At the turn of the 21st century, an international effort to decode human DNA was launched. Called the Human Genome Project, it ended up identifying about 99% of the entire human genetic sequence.
A revolution in medical science whose implications far surpass even the discovery of antibiotics.
Discoveries in genetics research have unearthed tremendous opportunities in medicine, such as genetic testing and the manipulation of genes. But with these opportunities come risks and ethical questions, and finding the answers to those questions lead to the next stage of our understanding of genetics.
The family history, so we check on the genetic testing. The family history remains to be the most important screening tool for pediatricians in identifying a patient's risk for developing a wide range of diseases from multifactorial conditions such as their diabetes, attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder, single gene disorders such as their sickle cell anemia, and cystic fibrosis. Through a detailed history, and family history at that, the physician can often ascertain the mode of genetic transmission and the risk to the family members. Because not all familial clustering of disease is caused by genetic factors, a family history can also identify common environmental and behavioral factors that influence the occurrence of disease. And the main goal of the family history is to identify genetic susceptibility, and the cornerstone of the family history is a systematic and standardized pedigree. So here, diba in your first year, you were asked to make your family tree. Anong tawag doon?
Hindi kayo nagganon sa SCFA?
Jim Brown. Yes, family Jim Brown. So a pedigree provides a graphic depiction of a family structure and medical history. So gawin niyo yan sa bahay. Gawin niyo to sa bahay niyo. So it is important when taking a pedigree to be systematic and use standard symbols and configurations so that anyone can read and understand the information. So here, there you. Yan ang mga common or standardized pedigree symbols and relationships. So pag square, male, pag circle, female, and the list goes on. So ganyan paggawa mo. And in the pediatric setting, the proband is typically the child or adolescent who is being evaluated and is designated in the pedigree by an arrow. So here, hindi pa nakikita yung pointer. So the fourth and lower, may arrow siya. So that's your index patient. Okay, so that's what you call your proband or the index patient. A 3 to 4 generation pedigree should be obtained for every new patient as an initial screen for genetic disorders segregation within the family. And the pedigree can provide clues to the inheritance patterns of these disorders and can aid us as clinicians in developing or determining the risk of the proband or the other family members. The closer the relationship to the proband, to the person in the family with the genetic disorder, the greater is the shared genetic complement. So first-degree relatives, such as the parents, full sibling or child, share 1/2 their genetic information on average. First cousin shares 1/8. And sometimes the person providing the family history may mention a distant relative who is affected with a genetic disorder. Ang layo pala mo. Alam ko meron pa kami kamag-anak diba, usually sa province hanggang sa pang-ilang mula doon. Hindi mo na alam paano kayo naging kamag-anak. So naaalala yan, isa sa probinsya dito hindi. So in such cases, a more extensive pedigree may be needed to identify the risk to the other family members. So for example, a history of a distant maternally related cousin with intellectual disability caused by Fragile X syndrome can still place a male proband at an elevated risk for the disorder. Especially now, madami, hindi ko po alam kung meron, lalo na ngayon, diba, otherwise, yung mga non-typically developing kids natin, ADHD, autism, and they cannot point out kung sino yung meron sa size of a family. So yan yung sinasabi nila, maybe in this past, meron siyang kamag-anak. So that puts the child on a higher risk of developing the disorder. Okay. So diagnostic genetic testing helps to aggregate a sense of signs and symptoms or the phenotype for disease diagnosis. And the list of disorders for which specific genetic tests are available is extensive and growing. So you can check this website at www.nlm.nih.gov/ GTR. So this provides one database of recorded available network. Ito yung mga common available tests. Nabanggit na natin yung chromosomal microassay, linkage analysis, direct DNA-based testing, DNA sequencing. And they have their own advantages and disadvantages. Alright. So this one shows you the overview of the next generation DNA sequencing workflow. So blood or other tissue is collected for testing. If there is a tumor, no? Then extract sila ng DNA or RNA. So nucleic acid extraction, then library preparation, so target enrichment for targeted panel or fragmentation if needed, and repair A2. Then next gen sequencing, then raw data processing until you are able to identify the variant. So variant calling, and then these indels, CNVs, SNVs. So pataas na pataas. And where do we get this? Yung genetic tests natin. Your next gen sequencing technology is available at the medical CT. This one allows for faster and more affordable testing for cancer and prenatal screening, among other applications. But there are also other testing centers na who offer this. Basta sa hospital-based, we have the medical CT. So partnered with Gene Solutions, or ECDNA Philippines, Gene Track Philippines, DNA Solutions Philippines. Yung mga yon, yun mga direct na nag-test, not hospital-based. Pero kung gusto niyo dumiretso sa the medical CT. Alpha Biolabs, High Precision, pwede. Magtanong lang kayo, baka certain branches na High Precision. Sa specialized testing. Meron tayo dito. Pero sa FEU, okay? Alright. So, what are the variants that are incident findings assigned to one of the employees? So, if it has a childhood onset medically actionable or not medically actionable, yan yung categories. So, adult onset, medically actionable. Ano ba yung medically actionable? This refers to a variant in a gene in which knowledge of a particular variant will affect medical decision making, such as initiation of a treatment or family planning. Pag not naman, no, it increases the individual's risk for a disease in which no treatment is proven to significantly change the disease natural history. So, three factors are, so the early genetic testing is interpreted by three factors: your analytic validity, clinical validity, and clinical utility. Analytical validity is test accuracy, no? So, does the test correctly detect the presence or absence of a pathogenic variant? So, yan yung question niya. Yung isa naman, clinical validity is the degree to which the test correctly predicts presence or absence of a disease. So, false positive and false negative test results can occur. And false positive results are more likely for predictive tests than for diagnostic tests. So, an important contributing factor is non-penetrance, where an individual with an at-risk genotype might not clinically express the condition. And the clinical utility, so this is the degree of which the results of a test guide clinical management. So, hindi lang pala siya positive or negative, madami ka pa sa apply. Okay? So, for genetic testing, clinical utility includes establishing a diagnosis that obviates the need for additional workup or guiding surveillance or treatment. Ano to, yung predictive genetic testing. We've been talking about it early on. So this involves performing a test in a person at risk for developing a genetic disorder. So Ibig sabihin, bago siya magkaroon ng symptoms. So, pre-symptomatic, that's why it's called predictive. Okay, usually on the basis of family history, yet who does not manifest signs or symptoms. So, ano to yung mga ginagawa siya sa disorders that display age-dependent penetrance. For example, the likelihood of manifesting signs and symptoms that increases with age, as in cancer, genetic syndromes, or Huntington's. So, genetic information ng discrimination na-discuss natin. Okay. Predispositional genetic testing is available with the goal of predicting risk of disease. So, kanyari, ito, ikaw nagpa-test ka. This one, diba? This is your test result. You have 21% risk of developing coronary artery disease, but the average risk is 24%. So, mababa lang. Diba? 21% ka. So, this might include avoid. Maganda rin kasi ito kasi ano magiging effect nito? Mag-avoid ka ng mga factors that could increase your likelihood of having the disorder. So, you will avoid environmental exposures that would increase the risk of the disease like cigarette smoking, no? And then you do medical surveillance, familial breast cancer and mammography, or in some cases pharmacologic treatment with the use of statins and hypercholesterolemia. Okay, pharmacogenetics. Polymorphisms in drug metabolism can result in distinctive patterns of drug absorption, metabolism, excretion, or effectiveness. So, as it is, children have a different metabolism, absorption pattern than that of adults. So, may mga gamot tayo na mas mabilis ma-absorb, mas matindi ang magiging effect sa mga bata kaysa sa mga adults. So, ito, parang siyang nagiging customized siya ng pharmacogenetics. So, this studies how variants contribute to inter-individual variability in drug response. Okay. Genetic counseling. So this is a communication process in which the genetic contribution to health, specific risk of transmission of a trait, and options to manage the condition are explained to individuals and their family members. This will help the individual and the family to understand the medical facts of the disorder, appreciate how heredity contributes to the disorder, and the risk of recurrence in specified relatives. And this should be non-directive. Okay? So, you have to discuss what? The benefits, the risk, and limitation of testing, expected testing results, type of incidental or secondary findings, and of course, the cost of testing. Kasi ang sarap mag-request mo, pero kung hindi naman nila kaya, you shouldn't burden the patient or the relatives to do this. Okay. And pag hindi nila ginawa to, dapat meron ka din, part of your counseling would be the other options. It's, hindi pwedeng walang anti-offer. Dead end, hindi. Mawawalan sila ng business. Hindi na to, hindi pa sila ibang factor. Or baka, ma-depress pa yung patient because of that. No? And patients should be informed of the possibility of incidentally finding medically actionable genes. So, baka hindi yung purpose mo ang nakita mo, yung incidental. So, yeah. Genetic counseling should be provided after testing, and the test results should be interpreted, and the inheritance patterns and the risk of recurrence are also needed to be discussed. Okay. The availability of management and prevention modalities, the need for further testing, and the implications for the family should be discussed. And moreover, emotional and social support and patient support groups or reference resources should be provided. So before you sit down with the family to discuss about the test, no, you have to read on it. You have to prepare yourself, no? Kasi ikaw ang mas nakakaalam. So, components of a genetic counseling session and providing accurate information to families requires the following. So, taking a targeted family history and constructing a pedigree that diagrams the patient's relatives, including miscarriages, abortions, stillbirth, and deceased persons, with their age, sex, ethnicity, and state of health, up to and including third-degree relatives. Okay? So, there. And we document all the prenatal, pregnancy, and delivery histories, review the latest available medical, laboratory, and genetic information concerning the disorder, and do a careful physical examination of the individual. And you also ask for photographs, picture before, measurements. Kung may baby book yung patient nyo, that's a good resource, no? And of apparently unaffected individuals in the family. So, there. Genetic counseling sessions often include your anticipatory guidance regarding the occurrence or risk of occurrence of a specific condition. So, knowledge of the diagnosis of the particular condition and natural history of the condition, the genetic aspects, risk of recurrence, prenatal diagnosis, and reproductive options. Also for therapies and referrals and provision of support resources. Hanggang doon, malawak. So, ibig sabihin, paghandaan mo yun. No? If a specific diagnosis is made and confirmed, this should be discussed with the family and information provided in writing. Not just verbal. You have to write it down. Para siyang purpose. Especially nowadays, ang bilis ng legal tawag ko, mga reklamo, meron tayo online, ang bilis ng online shaming, di ba? So if you are the doctor, you can be shamed. Ipo-post ka lang dyan na sila na yung pangalan mo. So dapat lahat, no? Especially for those information na genetic diagnosis, specific diagnosis, dapat talaga confidential and everything is written, no? The disorder, often, however, no, the disorder fits into a spectrum, one of the many types of arthrogryposis, for example, or the diagnosis is clinical rather than confirmed with molecular testing. So in this situation, the family needs to understand the limits of the diagnostic procedure. So before you go on to the diagnostic procedure, dapat alam mo lang, this is not the confirmatory test, or this test, if it turns out positive, it really is positive. Or if it is negative, it really is negative. So you have to provide explanation. Paano kung ganito? Pwede pa rin tayo mag-treat kahit negative siya. Ay sa dengue test pa lang, diba? Para alam nyo na yung dengue, NS1, IgM, IgG, even if you test negative, pwede pa rin kayong may dengue. But if you test positive, then it's truly positive. Kasi high positive siya. Pag negative, pwede pa rin kayong merong dengue fever, dengue. So, warning or without clinical culture. Okay? It is important to discuss the natural history of the specific genetic disorder in the family. Affected persons, no, and their families have questions regarding the prognosis or potential management or therapy that can be answered only with knowledge of a natural history. So, dapat alam niya ano yung possible mangyari. Pag later on, pag di natin nagawa to, baka magkaroon ng complications. Pag naagapan, okay, maganda, magiging development baby, mga ganun. So, it is really important to discuss all of these, no? The outcomes, complications, and range of causes, and variability of the condition. And also, you have to know who to refer to. So, bago mo rin sabihin, kailangan refer ka sa isang kasi alam mo na kung kanino siya i-refer. Like, kunyari, kailangan ng hematologist, more or less, dito naman sa atin meron, or neurologist at that, no? And all family members should be informed of their reproductive choices. And the genetic basis of the disorder can be explained with visual aids. Mas madali nilang maintindihan. maintindihan. So mag-e-effort talaga kayo. Okay. Many different methods of prenatal screening and diagnosis are available depending on the specific genetic disorder. So, first in line, you have your ultrasound, di ba? Meron kayong ultrasound, and yung congenital scan. You can see if your patient has, di ba, possibility of heart niya, hindi na pinapos yung pulse, and then amniocentesis and chorionic sampling. So, yan. And then maternal blood or serum sampling. So, we have all of these biochemical disorders, screening, and chromosomal abnormalities. Especially for those who are elderly primates na tinatawag. Ilang taon yun? Ilang taon yung kanina? Pag girl, 35. Pag male, 40. So, at least, di ba yung mga male, 40, di ba? Pero kayo, pag naman kayo, 35, lahat just so you're safe. Some genetic disorders require the care of multiple specialties or specialists. And prevention of known complications is a priority. The psychological adjustment of the family might also require specific intervention. And some challenges may involve when to discuss the diagnosis of a chronic disease with a patient, sibling, or other family members or friends. My friends pa, if these friends are really involved in the life of the AIDS patient. So, support groups. Sino ba yung mga support groups niyo? The community, no, online, lay disease-specific support groups. Meron ganon. Like, kunyari, sa ADHD, meron silang groups sa Facebook or whatever social media. So there are websites and social media platforms that provide helpful information. Just be careful of what is being posted there. You have to check the sources. No? Okay? And follow up, because new developments often influence the diagnosis and therapy of specific genetic disorders. So we are evidence-based, we practice evidence-based medicine. So you have, di ba meron kayong access to UpToDate, etc. in our library. We also use that for our management in our patients because every day there is something new. And lahat naka-based na practice. Okay? Alright, so non-directive counseling, the role of the counselor, whether it be a physician, genetic counselor, nurse, or medical geneticist, is to provide information in understandable terms and outline initial options available. So understandable, kung kaya mo siyang i-Tagalog, may fixed siya translation, use that one. But if you cannot translate that, wala siyang equivalent form, then use the scientific term. Explain mo na lang. Sabi nga nila, pwede kang mag-visual aids. Okay, especially for genetics, di ba kayo nga nahihirapan lang, no? And nahihirapan na rin ako. So you have management and treatment of genetic disorders. Usually, yung genetic disorders and conditions, these are chronic disorders. And some are amenable to curative therapies, although there has been a rapid increase in the number of treatable disorders, but there are still some medical therapy. So based on ongoing preclinical and clinical investigations, new therapies for a growing number of diseases are expected to become available in the near future. Basta baka pagdating ng time kayo na nasa level namin, dahil na lang tayo po. No? Okay. And meron kayong resources na, at least online, no? Madami na kayong, kunyari, nahihirapan kayo mag-diagnose ng isang disorder. There are a lot of online platforms that you can refer to, like your www.rarediseases.org. That's from the National Organization of Rare Disorders and Genetic Alliance also, and the National Library of Medicine. So, ang dami na ninyong resources. Before, di ba, ang hirap pa lang sa internet. But medyo mas madami na tayo. Okay, physiologic therapies attempt to ameliorate the phenotype of a genetic disorder by modifying the physiology of the affected individual. But the underlying defect itself is not altered by treatment. So physiologic therapies are used in the treatment of your inborn errors of metabolism. Ano yung mga common na alam mo sa inborn error of metabolism? G6PD. What else? Huh? MSUD. What else? PKU. Ano yung PKU? Phenylketonuria. What else? Congenital adrenal hyperplasia. What else? Ito yung original. Congenital hypothyroidism. Yan yung original. And then meron ang dami na. Okay. Alright. So aside from physiologic therapies, we also do it for replacement therapies. So replacement therapies include replacement of a missing metabolite, enzyme, organ, or gene, specific gene. So nare-replace na rin pala siya. So enzyme replacement therapy is a component of the treatment of cystic fibrosis to manage intestinal malabsorption. Recombinant alkaline phosphatases coupled with both cardiac motif is available for IV therapy of hypophosphatation. What else? We also use enzyme replacement for Gaucher disease, Fabry disease, and ano pa bang, Pompe disease. This one, as you can see here. Pompe disease. And are being tested for mucopolysaccharidosis 3A and 3B, 9 peak disease, and metachromatic leukodystrophy. But one complication for your enzyme replacement therapy is antibody response to the infused recombinant enzyme. And the magnitude of this response is not always predictable and varies depending on the enzyme preparation and the disease. So, pwede siyang magkaroon ng adverse reaction. Next, transplantation. So, cell transplantation and organ transplantation are potentially effective approaches to replacement of the organ. Diba? Ang sarap. Parang AI na AI. Meron kong effective palitan naman natin. Okay. Hindi na, diba? Parang sarap pakinggan. Sarap i-imagine. Ang sarap ko. Masaya ba yun? At parang going against nature. And that is science. Scientist ka ba? Scientist ba kayo? Yes, because you are doctors. Oh. But we practice medicine with a conscience. So nasa inyo na lang, if you are okay to apply, amenable to apply all of these, your patients are not. So based on your principles. Okay? Pero yung mga basic principles natin, dapat nakasunod tayo. Okay, so aside from transplantation to replace damaged tissues, transplantation of stem cells, like the one I told you about, liver or bone marrow is also used for several diseases, mainly inborn errors of metabolism, and hematologic or immunologic disorders. So a successful transplant can be essentially curative, although there may be significant risks and side effects. So, lahat naman, no? So, alam niyo na na meron tayong stem cell banks, cord blood, fat, gene therapy. So, this is another approach that focuses on replacing or correcting the defective gene. And if one can target this specific tissue that has a deficiency in the gene or gene product, this can offer a less invasive means of achieving a cure for genetic disorder compared to transplantations. And also, this will lessen the amount or the cost of treatment or further testing. Diba? Kung na-identify na siya, palitan mo lang, okay. Instead of, hindi ko lang, sige, step by step, up. Hanggang na-exhaust na yung kanilang resources, then Wala na. So, this is a good diba, option, no? It offers a less invasive means of achieving a cure for a genetic disorder. So, ultimately, gene therapy depends on the unique interaction of the disease pathophysiology, which is specific to the patient and the gene delivery vehicle. Gene transfer vehicles include viral and non-viral vectors administered through ex vivo or in vivo approaches. So ano ang meron ngayon? Example is the US FDA-approved chimeric antigen receptor T-cell therapy for lymphomas and leukemias. No? Most human clinical trials have used viral vectors because of their efficiency of gene delivery techniques. But, ayun, hindi pa siya masyadong ginagamit. Although, madami na natutuklasan ngayon ng siyensya. No? Hindi pa masyadong kasi pwede. Hindi pa siya masyadong elucidated. Gene editing with direct correction of a disease-causing pathogenic variant is another possible approach to genetic therapy. No? And various nucleases with specific DNA recognition sequences are available for genome editing. DNA repair, RNA-targeted therapy, so you have your antisense, oligonucleotides, which are short synthetic nucleic acids that hybridize with cellular RNA using classic base pairing to modulate gene expression. Okay. Correction of genetic diseases in the human germline, prevention of genetic diseases. No? This has been accomplished by pre-implantation genetic diagnosis. It requires in vitro fertilization and single embryo cell genetic testing of the known family's pathogenic variant and is performed with PCR amplification of the recognition. So, for birth defects, next time na lang siguro, alas 3. Okay? So far, are we still good? Alam nyo, ang hirap gawa ng lecture sa genetics, pero I hope met as much as we could, just simplify. Intindihan nyo, lahat ng ginagawa natin, no? Based on conscience, guided by the Lord, ha?